Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessie Jagpal. Today we are going to be doing another balloon. We're going to be popping another balloon, and there is another horror story I will be telling you today. So let's go ahead and begin with our balloon popping. It's going to take some time. So I'm going to move the camera down a little bit so you can see the process. Oh, okay. Hopefully I don't break the camera. Okay, all right, that should be good. Excellent. Okay, so for this balloon popping, I'm gonna take an orange. These are homegrown oranges that we have in our backyard. So just picked this like a couple of minutes ago. So I'm gonna take off, I don't want the juices to come off. So I don't know if this will work, guys, because I don't know if how juicy the end is. Let me get another piece just in case. Okay, so I have two orange peels. So you don't want the actual orange, you want the peel portion of it, okay? So I'm gonna put my cutting board aside, and I'm going to wipe my hands real quick before I grab the balloon because the juices from the orange peel are on my hand, so I don't want the compound that's on my hand to pop the balloon, which is very strong. So I'm going to grab a wipe to wipe my hands real quick. Hopefully this works. I don't even know if this is going to work. If it doesn't work, we may end up popping it the old-fashioned way with my fingernails. So wish me luck. Hopefully this doesn't have something that will cause the balloon to pop. But just before we get into it, a little bit of background. The orange peel has limonene. I believe it's called limonene. It's a compound that's what causes the balloon to pop on contact. The actual orange juice doesn't have this. It's the orange peel. If you guys want to try this experiment at home. All right, guys, here we go. Wish me luck. All right, so here's my smiley balloon. All happy and happy and happy. Okay. I really hope this works. I really want this to work. Okay, guys, I want to make sure the lighting is perfect. Ready? That worked. So that was really awesome. Yes. Okay. So just as a reminder, I used the juices in the peel. I didn't use the actual orange juice, okay? The limonene compound is in the actual shell, the outer component of the orange, and that will work. It should pop the balloon. Isn't that cool? Okay. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. That was like, I think that was one of my best ones I've done so far. So I'm gonna move the camera back up. Whoa. Okay. All right. For today's story, I don't even have water with me today. That's a bummer. Okay. So for today's story, we're gonna be talking about a haunted house. It's located about 30 miles, I believe 30 miles in some direction of New York. Let me pull up some facts and notes that I have taken. Okay, the house is in, I believe the location is Amityville. Amityville's A-M-I-T-Y-V-I-L-L-E, Amityville. It's located somewhere in New York. It's the neighborhood in Amityville. So basically in the early 1970s, specifically November 13th, 1974. So that wasn't too long ago. In fact, it hasn't been very long at all because I'll just cut to the chase real quick. The murderer is still in prison and very much alive, serving time. So it hasn't been very long. I believe he was a child at the time. He was a kid when he did it. He's 50, I believe it was 57 now, 57 years old now. So he was a kid. His name was Ronald DeFeo Jr. He shot and he killed 6 members of his family at this house. So it was located in Amityville. So it's known as the haunting, Amityville haunting. He was arrested, obviously, and found guilty and put into jail. So I believe the family members included 3 or 4 of his siblings, brothers and sisters, and it was his parents, all of his family. At midnight, he took a rifle, like a gun, and he shot all of them. So in December of 1975, so about a year later, George and Kathy moved into this home. Okay, it was them and their 3 children. They moved, which is odd, but they moved into the home, and basically they had a very tough 28 days in that house because they heard things, they felt things, they saw things, and it was very hard for them to be in that environment. Kathy, the wife that had moved in, had vivid like nightmares during her entire stay at the house, to the point where like she would have nightmares of the murder and everything. The husband would wake up around 3:30 at night when they moved in, every night, 3:30 in the morning, and that was the time the murderer, Ronald, woke up to commit the crime. So it was kind of strange that he would get up at that time every day. The father was also noticing that over time, his children, they typically slept on their backs or on their sides. He slowly started noticing that his children had started sleeping on their stomachs over time. And that's how the children, his siblings that were murdered, were found during their death. Like when they were shot, they were all on their stomachs, which was that's really creepy. But that's what he kind of started noticing, that they were all on their stomach. Over time, things got really worse. The husband was very religious. George was very religious, and he constantly prayed, and he devoted himself to his religion, and he basically brought over a priest, to do to kind of check out the place and see what was going on. The priest had mentioned that he had also heard a voice telling him to get out of the house. Like it was a voice, it was clear, and it told him to get out. So the spirits, obviously, or whatever was going on in the house, did not want him there. Over time, things were getting worse for this family. Not only were they noticing that the children were sleeping on their stomachs now, during one incident, George even noticed he woke up in the middle of the night and his wife was floating, or I believe the term they used was levitating. In the air. So she was off the bed and in the air. George also noticed his children on one instance doing the same. They were raised up off their beds and levitating in air. And again, I'm assuming that wasn't enough for the family. It didn't convince the family, or it didn't, freak them out to the point where they, packed their bags and got out of there. I mean, that would be enough for me, to be honest. Like even the fact, nightmares would have been enough for me. If I was having nightmares of the murder and knowing that there was a murder in the house, I would get out of there. Things did get worse. They slowly started seeing injuries on their bodies. The children, the wife, even George started noticing marks, and just different things on bruises on their bodies that were not, they couldn't explain, you know, why they were there, how they occurred. They for sure knew something was wrong, and you know, I mean, obviously at that point anyone would know that there is definitely something not right with the place. So they eventually did end up moving out of the house. I believe later they only stayed 28 days, so about a month, and after that point it was too frightening to even tell. So a lot of what they encountered they didn't vocalize, so it's not available for the general public, so they're not able to really say, like, you know, what they heard or what they saw. It's just basically states that it was too frightening, you know, to even mention or to even say what was going on. I'm assuming they did say that they felt cold spots throughout the house. I'm assuming they probably saw things too. So really creepy. And so just a little bit of background on the actual individual that had committed the murder. Ronald DeFeo Jr. He is currently alive and serving time in the prison. He's been asked numerous times why he committed the crime. His story, basically what they're saying is it changes every time. So he isn't sticking to one thing, so no one really knows why he did it. One of the main things that really stands out and they have written down is that something or someone, something or like a being or something told him that he had to kill his family. That's what he's saying, that it was in his head for some reason. We don't know if it's an actual person or if it was something like a supernatural being that told him that he had to do this. And that's why he carried it out. Again, this isn't the only story he's sticking to. He's, you know, going back and forth. It could have been a mental illness, etc., etc. And they also smelled really strange things. There was a room in the house that wasn't mentioned during the time they bought it, or it wasn't in the layout of the house either. So typically when you buy a house, they tell you these are the rooms of the house. It has this many bathrooms, this many bedrooms, and it has like a nice backyard. You know it really well. Well, this family ends up discovering a room that wasn't mentioned to them during the time they purchased it. It was a secret room. It was red, completely red. Even the family's dog was afraid of that area. Like, he would bark and, you know, just whine and out of fear, and didn't want to go near that region or that room. Let's see. So as of today's story on the Amityville house, it was sold again. So it was sold just recently, not too long ago, in February of 2017. The owner is undisclosed, so we don't know who bought the house, but they did purchase it for $605,000, which is less than the asking price. So previously it was owned by 4 other families since the murder, and the address has changed from the original address. And the murderer is still very much alive and in prison. Creepy. Okay guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my horror story. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Get some rest and have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye.